This is a story about the corporatization of vets and the cost of cremating a pet, the cost of saying goodbye to one of your loved ones. So in this video, I am going to break down some inside information about the industry, how it works, and what we can all do to stop the veterinary industry from taking the mickey out of us, because enough is enough. Now, some of these stories come from a BBC segment and from inside information I have obtained from credible sources, credible veterinarians, credible people who are in the industry of cremating pets for a living, pet crematoriums, etc., etc. Now, the first case from this BBC segment was 500 for a pet individual cremation for 2 injections. So this particular person had 2 injections to put their beloved dog down, and they were charged £500. The 2 injections were for a sedation and anesthetic. The group was the CVS group, which is one of the biggest veterinary groups in the world, and they are being currently actually investigated by the Competition and Markets Authority here in the UK, and more of this is going to come down later. So £500 to put a dog down in an individual basis, and I'll come back to that. The second case they enumerated was £757 for a single dog, £425 to be seen by the vet, emergency hours, okay, we all get it, and then £757 was this person charged. So an exorbitant amount of money to have a dog be put down. We then have almost £100, £98.50 for a 3-inch hamster, £45 for the consultation with a vet. I mean, the range here seems to be £400 to £600 to put your dog down, and that seems to be the range. Now, there are options, and I'm going to get into this. There are individual cremation or collective cremation. Now, the way an insider has described this to me, if you go for a collective cremation, is that your dog will be frozen, like frozen meat, be put in a freezer with other dogs, obviously in a very humane and safe way. I'm not saying this is not going to be safe and this is not done in a humane way, but your dog is going to be sharing space in a freezer with other dogs, and those other dogs are then going to be put in the incinerator. And when they are being put in the incinerator, they are going to have some sort of individual space, and they are going to be cremated together. And when they are all cremated together, then they get put into vases or recipients or whatever the case might be, but obviously there is going to be cross-contamination. So the way this crematorium put it to me, and they are owned by one of these big groups, and I don't want to say which one because I'll get into trouble, and I don't want to get into trouble, is that the owners don't really know whether that jar is cookies or is cookies and someone else's. We don't really know because they are all being incinerated at the same time. Now, again, there are options. You can opt for having an individual cremation or having a collective cremation, which is going to be a lot more budget friendly. Now, vets are very understanding and empathetic. So this is not about vet bashing. I don't want to take a dig at individual vets. This is not about vets. This has nothing to do with vets. This has everything to do with corporate greed in the pet industry. Big pet conglomerates have a massive grip on the pet industry. They control everything. They control crematoriums. They control veterinary practices. They control the literature that vets get in veterinary school, the materials they learn. They have sales reps go into the school. Big pet food companies own a lot of these veterinary practices through shareholder interests. So everything is an interweb that is solely created for you to have nowhere else to go but them. It's a story of corporate greed. So it's nothing to do with veterinarians and a lot to do with the veterinary industry and how it operates currently. And by the way, if you are curious about what the best dog food is for your dog, you can download a free guide, How to Feed Your Dog Better. It'll be here down below. Now, on this particular program, there was a vet actually defending the procedure, saying that obviously of the £557, 500 was for the sedation. Sedation medication, she said, is not cheap. The consultation as well, they had an intravenous cannula, someone to assist that other vet. It depends on the size of the dog sometimes and the medication as well, of course. To save money, she said you could bury them at home. That could be an alternative, and not to come out of hours, although she said this could sometimes not be planned for. And that was some of the veterinarian perspective. That was something she was breaking down, the cost of sedation, the cost of this, the cost of that. But still, to put a dog down, £750 is very, very steep, and it's very, very hard for anyone to take that into account, basically. Talking to this pet crematorium off the record, what they reckoned is that they are charging veterinarians £50 for the cremation service, and vets are then marking that up to £300 and beyond. So the markup there is very, very high. What a lot of these veterinarians are doing in terms of the crematoriums is that they own the crematoriums as well. And when you own the crematorium and you can fix prices in a way that suits you, and there are very, very few players in an industry, you can really charge whatever you want. And you could look at comparable industries. Supermarkets is one of the industries. Another industry is petrol stations. I mean, where are you going to go? How much money can you save by going to one petrol station as opposed to another? Not much, right? So this is the same sort of deal. So the eye is on these big corporations. Vets charge whatever they want because they can get away with charging whatever they want. They control pet crematoriums, they control veterinary practices, and a lot of these veterinarians are owned by the big pet food companies. They sell you the food, they prescribe you the food, they write the literature your vets reads at university, again through freedom of information request. I have made a few videos about this and you can find them on the channel, and they control everything and they charge you whatever they want. And that is the state of play. The state of play is that they have a complete and utter monopoly or oligopoly on the industry, and this is yet another issue regarding the cost of putting a dog down or a cat down or a small mammal down. I am very, very sure this is very similar abroad. This is very similar, and please let me know if you are in the US and if you are abroad in the world and you are watching this from that angle. Please let me know how much does it cost. Is it a lot more affordable? Is it not a lot more affordable? Is it the same? My guess would be it's roughly the same because these veterinarians and these big pet food companies control the whole industry from top to bottom. Horizontally, linearly, you name it. They control it all. They have their grips in absolutely everything. The cost of cremating a pet, the cost of saying goodbye is astronomical, and someone should do something. The Competition and Markets Authority here is investigating some of the vets and some of the acquisitions and some of the practices, and this needs to stop. It really needs to stop because we cannot be paying more and more and more and more for the same or subpar things. And especially when it comes to saying goodbye to a pet, we shouldn't be looking at how much it's going to cost, whether that's going to cost £700-800 or dollars to put our dog down. We can be looking at the money in that way. Maybe the right range is £300 to £400. I don't know what the right price is. I'm just making a ballpark argument that the cost should come down and that we can't have this happen for every veterinary service, because every vet service these days is astronomically expensive, and it's astronomically expensive. And if you are a vet, you will know what I'm talking about. You will know that you have very limited amount of time with each patient. That comes from the corporation. You are being asked to be more efficient. You are being asked to cut down on cost. You are being asked to streamline your process. You are being told to recommend this, and this. You have sales reps come into your veterinary practice, and I know from experience, trying to flog your products and trying to tell you that this treatment or this drug or that drug is the right one for this condition or that condition. And you aren't being told the other side of the equation, the other side of the argument. So this is not about you. This is a story about corporatization of veterinary practices. And if you have any experiences, positive or negative, it doesn't really matter. Please let me know in the comments, because I'm really, really interested in knowing everything that's been happening in this sector.